Did the city of Los Angeles fail you and your department and our city?
Yes. I don't know how the water gets to the hydrants.
These people from the Biden administration would call up our team and scream at them and curse. They wanted us to take down this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at a TV. We just said, no, we're not going to take down humor and satire.
Don't have enough water in them. Give me a break.
If you need help, emergency information, resources, and shelter is available. All of this can be found at URL.
Well, the crisis isn't even over yet, but Los Angeles city officials are already turning on one another. LA Fire Department Chief Kristen Crowley gave her first public interview since the fires broke out, and well, she is now on record saying that the city failed her. You cannot make this stuff up. This entire exchange is quite eye-opening.
Did the city of Los Angeles fail you and your department and our city?
It's my job to stand up as a chief and exactly say justifiably what the fire department needs to operate to meet the demands of the community.
Did they fail you?
That is our job, and I tell you, that's why I'm here. So let's get us what we need so our firefighters can do their jobs.
Did they fail you?
Yes.
Chief Kristen Crowley, I believe the anchors wanted to ask a question back there, had some comments.
We do, Gigi. If you could please ask her regarding the Times article that came out that the Santa Ynez Reservoir was closed to repairs and it was empty. 117 million gallons of water could have been used in this fight.
The question is about the Santa Ynez Reservoir being empty. There's been a lot of questions about that.
Sure. So my stance on this is when a firefighter comes up to a hydrant, we expect there's going to be water. We don't control the water supply. Our firefighters are there to protect lives and property and to make sure that we're properly trained and equipped. That's my position on this. So if there's no water, I don't know how the water gets to the hydrants. Please defer that to DWP or whomever controls that part. But I can tell you the resiliency of our firefighters, if there's no water, they're going to go find water. They're going to figure out a way to do the best they can with what they've got in a very dynamic situation.
And I know you expressed concerns that those DWP hydrants would not be inspected thoroughly because of the budget cuts.
That is something to discuss, and we're going to look into that in regard to how we can ensure there's going to be water when we need it. But in the end, I'm going to defer that to DWP and whomever else controls the supply. I can guarantee you that when our firefighters showed up on that day with what they had, they did absolutely everything they could do to rescue and to save people's lives and property. And that's the bottom line. Now let's get them what they need to do their jobs.
Let's get them water, Chief, because I was with your firefighters and they literally were watching a house burn down with pain in their eyes, not being able to do anything except pull water from a swimming pool to try to save a nearby structure that wasn't burning, and literally watching a house burn to the ground because they had no water.
That's exactly right. But did they continue to work, and did they continue to do what they had to do the best they could with what they had? Yes.
Chief, follow-up. Thank you very much for talking to us. We appreciate it. I believe we have a follow-up question from the studio.
Question on that reservoir issue. Is the fire department aware of when these resources are depleted, just like that reservoir had no water? Was she aware of that fact, that it was under construction and there was no water there?
Sandra Endo, one of our anchors, wants to know if the department is advised that the Santa Ynez Reservoir was going to be emptied. Were you aware that there was no water there?
No, we weren't aware of that.
They don't have to advise you?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
So you had no idea that there wasn't such needed resource?
No, we weren't.
All right. Chief Kristen Crowley, again, Chief of the Los Angeles City Fire Department.
I mean, just completely mind-boggling. I truly was shocked the first time I saw that. I knew that there clearly was an incompetent response, but I didn't realize that things were that bad. What is clearly happening is there is a massive CYA, cover your butt, operation going on from all parties because no one wants to get blamed. Karen Bass doesn't want to get blamed because she doesn't want to ruin her political future. Same with Gavin Newsom, whether he's eyeing 2028 or beyond. And now the fire chief, her career is on the line. So they are all pointing at each other, trying to deflect blame so that their personal careers, their lives can continue to move forward while the lives of the people they're supposedly serving, their lives have been destroyed, burnt away in this fire. It's just absolutely, it's absolutely tragic the way this has unfolded. So a few things caught my attention during that interview. First, she blames the city of Los Angeles for failing her. Now, that goes back to what I was talking about, the finger pointing, deflecting, not accepting any responsibility. Now, just from a PR perspective, never mind the question of whether or not those comments were even appropriate in the first place, but from a PR perspective, while the city is still actively burning, there are still fires going on right now, it's just not a good look to blame the city for all of that happening and to not take any responsibility as a department. And I get if you want to boost morale and if you want to boost confidence in the fire department, but you can do that through other ways. You can do that by saying, hey, these were some mistakes, these were some missteps that were made, but here's what we're going to do. Here is our strategy moving forward. It's as easy as that. It's not like this is wartime, right? Because during war, the president shouldn't be out there saying what our plan of attack is going to be, because you don't want to broadcast the plan to the enemy, right? But this is Mother Nature we're talking about. You don't have to be secretive. You don't have to be hiding behind closed doors about your plan to put this fire out, to regain control. But instead, what we got is finger pointing, politicking, all while the crisis is actively ongoing. So it's just really sad to see. Now, the next thing that caught my attention was when she admitted that she has no idea how water gets to the fire hydrants. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't expect every single firefighter to understand how water gets to the fire hydrants. You know, most of them just plug in the hose and expect it to work. I get that. However, when you consider that the state of California is notorious for its droughts, notorious for its water shortages, and by the way, these water shortages aren't anything new. It's not as if this has just been happening the last year, the last 5 years, the last decade. This has been ongoing for decades. So you would think that people in leadership positions, people who have to make decisions and tough calls, such as the fire chief, would understand how the water gets to the fire hydrants. I mean, they're so short on water in California that, from what I understand, in some areas of the state, they even have restrictions on how much water you can use. Like where I am, you can water your garden, not have to worry about it. You can take a shower, not have to worry about how long your shower is. But in California, they ration their water because it is such a precious commodity. So how does the fire chief not know how these reservoirs and how the water gets to the hydrants? That is just mind-blowing. And even... okay, I can get the argument. Maybe no fire chief before her knew. Maybe that's a thing. I don't know. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. I'm trying to understand here, what we're seeing. But if even that's the case, even if you could make the excuse for her, then there is blame to be placed on the city itself, because how is the city not communicating with the fire department? Either way, someone is at fault here. Just, again, not a good look. Last but not least, she was asked about the water reservoirs. Now, there's been a lot of conflicting information and conflicting news stories, which, quite frankly, all contradict each other in regards to whether or not these reservoirs were fully empty, half filled, like what was going on here. So, to get more into that, I want to show you more of the public Zoom call between Gavin Newsom and Joe Biden. So, on this Zoom call, Joe Biden actually got upset that people are talking about the empty fire hydrants. He literally says, "Give me a break, man." His famous catchphrase. And then he starts going on public defense for Gavin Newsom. Again, you can't make this stuff up.
Initiated every federal agency, from the Department of Defense on, every federal agency to be part of this. And the other thing is, look, I think you're getting a bad rap. I know you're getting a bad rap about these fire hydrants don't have enough water in them. Give me a break. Give me a break. What this is all about is the utilities, understandably, what they did is they cut off power because they're worried about these high tension lines coming down and causing more fires in the wind, right? When they do that, guess what? They shut off the power that controls the ability to pump the water. And so now you're getting generators here. I mean, this is complicated stuff. They're going to have a lot of demagogues out there trying to take advantage of it. But you're doing the right thing. We're going to get it done, God willing. And I say to the people of Southern California, God bless you. Stay strong. Stay strong. We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere.
Give me a break. And then also, why is the president of the United States going out on defense for Gavin Newsom? Like, is he Gavin Newsom's PR secretary or something? Did I miss the memo? Like, shouldn't you be coordinating response efforts? But instead, that clearly was a PR stunt. Really upsetting. Well, according to the LA Times, this was published just today, state to probe. And by the way, this probe was initiated by Gavin Newsom himself. Why Pacific Palisades Reservoir was offline, quote, empty when firestorm exploded. And then you take a look at this picture, completely empty. So, yeah, they were empty. It's not as if the power, at least for this specific reservoir, was an issue. By the way, I think it was yesterday, if not yesterday, then 2 days ago, I showed footage of power lines sparking. So many sparks that people were afraid that their shrubbery and the trees were going to catch fire. So the people in that neighborhood called the power company. They called the fire department and said, hey, can you please turn off the fire? We know y'all are dealing with other situations, but this could potentially start yet another fire, yet another front for you to have to fight. They never turned off the power. So for Joe Biden to say that, it is really rich. And from what I've been seeing online, from what I've been reading, and from some news sources, let me put this screenshot back up. You'll notice that this reservoir is surrounded by mountains. It's actually higher up in elevation too. It's not as if it's just on the base of the mountain. But the reason I point that out is because apparently a lot of these reservoirs are strategically placed higher so that they use gravity to pull the water out. So even if there is a power outage or something happens, they can get water. But if the reservoir is empty, none of that matters. It doesn't matter if it's gravity. It doesn't matter if it's powered by electricity. If there's no water, there's no water. But maybe that's why Gavin Newsom's trying to change the story, right? He doesn't want to be called out on that. That's why, earlier today I released a video based on that same Zoom call. So in that Zoom call, Gavin Newsom was so concerned about the winds of misinformation. You would think he'd be more prioritized on getting resources to the state to help put out the fire and to help people rebuild. But he was really focused on getting Joe Biden to censor information he doesn't like. Now, he didn't use the word censor exactly, but the implication was quite clear. Well, earlier today, there was a surprise guest on the Joe Rogan show, and that was Mark Zuckerberg himself. And Mark Zuckerberg revealed more information about how the Joe Biden regime pressured Facebook, pressured Meta to take down information they didn't like, to stifle free speech. And in fact, things got so bad that the Biden administration screamed and cursed at Meta employees. This is what Mark Zuckerberg revealed.
These people from the Biden administration would call up our team and scream at them and curse. And it's like these documents it's all kind of out there.
Did you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we were, but I think
I want to listen.
I mean, there are emails, the emails are published. It's all kind of out there. And they're like, and basically it just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous. They want us to take down this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at a TV talking about how 10 years from now or something, you're going to see an ad that says, okay, if you took a COVID vaccine, you're eligible for, for this kind of payment, this sort of class action lawsuit type meme. And they're like, no, you have to take that down. And we just said, no, we're not going to take down humor and satire. We're not going to take down things that are true. And then at some point, I guess, I don't know, it flipped a bit. I mean, Biden, when he gave some statement at some point, I don't know if it was a press conference or to some journalists, where he basically was like, these guys are killing people. And I don't know, then all these different agencies and branches of government basically just started investigating and coming after our company. It was brutal. It was brutal.
Yeah, wow. There you have it. It is really ironic because the Democrats have told us all these years that Donald Trump is the threat to democracy, when in reality, their side has been the threat to democracy. Yes, they did things by the book. It wasn't the Biden administration personally going out and suppressing free speech. They weren't the ones actively going against the First Amendment. But when you put pressure on a tech company, when you essentially bully them into doing your bidding for you, you're just as complicit. I get not everyone trusts Mark Zuckerberg just yet, and I don't blame you. He definitely has a pretty sketchy history and has not made some of the best decisions, but I am happy to see some of the changes that have been happening at Meta. Now, the true test, I think, will be once Trump's term is over. It'll be, does Facebook stay on this route? Do they still keep going down this path during the next administration? Or do they reverse course? Or are they just trying to keep politicians on both sides happy? Like if we have, God forbid, someone like AOC become president and she wants to crack down on dissenters, is Facebook going to follow her, or are they going to be part of the resistance, as the Democrats like to put it? But what really caught my attention was the end there, when Mark Zuckerberg was talking about how all it took was a speech for Joe Biden to accuse Facebook of killing people. And then all of a sudden, all these government agencies start investigating the company. And that right there is just proof that the government has been weaponized. We obviously saw it with Donald Trump, with all the lawfare against him. As much as the Biden regime tries to deny and to downplay that, the smoke, the lines are everywhere. So I think if you take both of those things, the cursing and the yelling from Biden administration officials to the witch hunts by all these agencies, it really is just proof that this administration is overbearing, far-reaching. This administration is the true threat to democracy, and January 20th cannot come soon enough. Well, if the Biden regime was after a meme featuring Leonardo DiCaprio, then you know that they also would want to take out factual information, any information that went against their narrative. And that's exactly what Mark Zuckerberg confirmed. He reveals to Joe Rogan that there were multiple instances where they were forced and pressured to take down things which were true.
So at the beginning, it kind of seemed like, okay, we should give a little bit of deference to the government and the health authorities on how we should play this. But when it went from 2 weeks to flatten the curve to, and like in the beginning, it was like, okay, there aren't enough masks. Masks aren't that important. To then it's like, oh no, you have to wear a mask. And, all the, like everything was shifting around. It just became very difficult to kind of follow. And this really hit the most extreme, I'd say, during the Biden administration when they were trying to roll out the vaccine program. And now, I'm generally like pretty pro rolling out vaccines. I think on balance, the vaccines are more positive than negative. But I think that while they're trying to push that program, they also tried to censor anyone who is basically arguing against it. And they pushed us super hard to take down things that were honestly were true, right? I mean, they basically pushed us and said, anything that says that vaccines might have side effects, you basically need to take down. And I was just like, well, we're not going to do that. Like, we're clearly not going to do that. I mean, that is kind of inarguably true.
Who is they? Who's telling you to take down things that
it was
that talk about vaccine side effects?
It was people in the Biden administration.
Yeah, so we already knew this from the Twitter files, but it is completely new to hear it from Mark Zuckerberg himself. And like I said, I understand if you don't trust him. I understand if you're viewing his conversion, so to speak, through maybe a jaded lens, but you know what? I'm going to trust his actions as they come. I believe people are willing to change, especially as new information comes to light. I would like to think that what he was saying there was honest. Maybe I'm being naive, but I do like the recent announcements from Mark Zuckerberg and Meta. I do like the commitment to eliminate the third-party fact-checking program and to move towards a community notes-based system. I think that that's a move in the right direction, and I'm not going to hold a grudge against Mark Zuckerberg as long as he keeps moving in that right direction. Let his actions speak for themselves. Does that mean that I'm going to love him and love everything that he does? No, of course not. But hey, as progress is progress, and it's better late to the bandwagon, better late to the party than never. Now, a few days ago, on Wednesday, Karen Bass gave this press conference. I know a lot of you have seen it, but I have not covered it on the channel, and based on reading the comments on my last two videos, not everyone has seen this yet. So she was talking about how residents could find resources and get assistance. And, well, she had her own Joe Biden moment.
Right now, if you need help, emergency information, resources, and shelter is available. All of this can be found at URL. Los Angeles, together is how we will get through this. Through the heroism of our firefighters, the vigilance.
Joe Biden could not be more proud. Yeah. As always, all of this is just my analysis and commentary. This is what's going on in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So what do you think about the news interview that LA Fire Department Chief Kristen Crowley gave? Do you think that it exposed her as being incompetent? Do you think people are being too harsh on her? And specifically about not knowing how water gets to fire hydrants. Do you understand that, or do you think that that's just completely unacceptable? Now, there is something I wanted to bring up in regards to that entire situation, and it's an analogy of a surgeon's room, of an OR, operating room. And so surgeons aren't responsible for cleaning their own tools. There's a team that does that makes sure that everything is sterile. It would be like if a surgeon went into a surgery and started using tools that were dirty, that weren't sanitized, and the patient got sick and died. Like, he would face a lawsuit, or she would face a lawsuit, and would probably be fired from the hospital. Yes, it's not the surgeon's job to clean the tools, but they still have to know the pipeline that makes sure that the OR is ready for them. They're still responsible at the end of the day. And so while I think I can sort of buy into the argument that, well, she doesn't need to know how the pipes work and blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, it's sort of that pipeline. You should at least have a basic knowledge, a basic understanding if you are in that top leadership position, similar to how a surgeon should know whether or not his tools are sterilized. I don't know if that analogy makes sense or is even valid. I would like to think it is. So y'all think it over. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.